Welcome to the first episode of Creatives on the Come Up. I can't wait for you to hear the conversation that I have with Kayla Marcus. But first, let me give you an introduction to who Kayla is. Kayla is an award-winning filmmaker and writer based in Atlanta. Her most recent credits include The Last Supper and Rent a Family. She's currently working on a new short film project and training with Drama Inc. to become an actor. Now, let's get into the conversation.
Welcome to the stage where dreams take flight, where every brushstroke, every note, every line becomes a beacon in the night. Creatives on the come up, shine bright. We're the ones who dare to dream, turning visions into what they seem. With every step we break the mold, our stories bold and gold. Creatives on the come up, we rise. With passion in our hearts, we never compromise. From the canvas to the mind, we make our mark in the world of art. We leave our spark. From the streets to the studio, we find our way. With every challenge, we find a way to stay. Our creative, a force that can't be tamed. In the game of life, we're not just players, we're names. So join us on this journey, where dreams are made. Creatives on the come up, we're here to stay. With every episode, we'll light the way. Creatives on the come up every day.
Here we go. All right. So I am here with Kayla. Welcome to the podcast, Kayla. I'm so happy to have you. Insert applause. Woo.
Happy to be here.
So people might not know who you are. So could you just give them like a brief introduction?
Okay, my name is Kayla Marcus, Fried Attic, filmmaker extraordinaire. I'm a filmmaker based in Atlanta. I like to write, make movies, and that's pretty much the gist of it.
What got you interested in film production?
I had this friend in high school who made YouTube videos, and I thought she was like the coolest person on the planet. So I thought, I kind of want to make YouTube videos. I think I can do it. So we became friends. We made YouTube videos together, and I was like, can I make money doing this? And then, long story short, I started making short films around my school, and eventually I'm like, I can do bigger and better things. So now I'm in the film industry, and I'm loving every second of it.
What area of film do you think you're most passionate about?
Honestly, probably like I really want to say directing because that's what I wanted to be for so long, but I'm slowly inching more towards acting because I just feel like it's so much more fun. Because like as a director, both sides are stressful, but both sides are fun. But with acting, you get to be a little more goofy, or you get to play roles that you don't normally get to be in real life. And I think that's just fun. I get to be an astronaut. I get to be a chef. I could be anything.
We worked on your project, The Last Supper, together, and it was a amazing time getting to work with you and all the other crew and cast members. It was, I'm sure it was like a true labor of love for you. Well, you're doing everything. Like you were even on screen. How did you handle doing all of those roles with The Last Supper?
Short answer, I couldn't handle it, but I pretended like I could. Having like a lot of people, including yourself, aboard made it so much more easier and so much less stressful. But when you have like this fancy house that we rented to shoot The Last Supper, and you have a certain time limit, and it just became a little hard to manage. But because I had such a good crew and such talented people working alongside me, it made it so much more easier. And it also helped that the cast that were a part of it, they knew their lines. And I didn't, as a director, I didn't even have to give much notes. I was like, oh, yeah, you nailed it. So we can move on, which was great. And as for the acting part, I only gave myself a role because I don't get many chances to act. So I needed something for my role. And I'm like, I'm going to throw myself in there. And we did. And it was awesome. Very stressful project, but it's done. And we can move on from it and learn from it, and I'm grateful for it.
So do you think The Last Supper, did it encourage you to want to act more, or were you already headed in that direction?
Was definitely already heading in that direction. The Last Supper was like that. Oh, I have all these talented actors. I kind of want to throw myself in there, and cheaper to cast yourself into things. That's one less actor. Like I have to like worry about showing up late or whatnot. Or no, they were all pretty much on time. But yeah, I would say that acting has kind of like been this thing I've been wanting to do for a while, and The Last Supper was just like another opportunity for me to do that.
You also wrote the script, right? So, like, what was your process with that, with writing?
Oh gosh, because The Last Supper wasn't like done in like a month. It took 2 years to write that script. And I didn't even plan on making it, but another good friend of mine, he convinced me. We were doing background work for a show, and he's like, "Yeah, we gotta make this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I polished up the script. The process was like I would spend like 10 minutes a day working on it, even if I didn't have the energy. I'm like, I gotta write something. And yeah, it's just the writing process is so fun but so daunting. And it requires a lot of research, requires a lot of patience. But like I said, just give 10 minutes a day to write, and then eventually you'll have a full-length script.
For some people, like starting a project on your own, like you said, it can be daunting. So how did you like overcome that? Those challenges when you first started.
I constantly just tell myself, like, no matter what you make, it can't be the worst movie to exist. That's like the one thing that pushes me forward. And it's like, I work on set as like a COVID PA, and it's not a job that I enjoy doing. So I'm like, I got to make my own content. I got to be like where the director's at. I got to be where like the other people, the bigger people are at. So making that movie was like being on set and making that movie at the same time was like my inspiration to like wanting it to be better and do better, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's just it was a process, but I'm glad for it. It's so much work that went into it.
So I think we kind of went into this, but what was some of the challenges making The Last Supper?
Oh, gosh. The main challenge was getting the location. That was like the biggest challenge. Um, the house that we filmed at was so beautiful, and it was so well made, and there was artwork pretty much every aspect of the room, filling every corner of the house. And it's like this is a house that passes off for a rich family. And dealing with the homeowners, they were so lovely. I was shocked at how amazing they were. So the location being the first challenge, and shooting scenes back to back to back with little to no break because we had such a limited time to film on location. And oh my gosh, I'm actually shocked that we did it. But yeah, it's fun. And even though the hours went too long, very long, as you are aware, oh gosh, I never want to go through that again. I want to like do short projects from here on out. But yeah, the location was the main big thing that we have to deal with.
And that was a beautiful location. Yeah, I can contest to that. But yeah, and like what I admired about you throughout this whole project too is that you weren't waiting for someone to just give you a check, and just you used what you had, and you like, and what you didn't have, you worked hard to get. So like I really admired that about you in this project.
Thank you. It was financially, yeah, my mom helped out like a lot. She's the reason we were able to film in that mansion. So shout out to my mother who supported my dreams, and my dad who somewhat he supports them too, but he gave like a small portion compared to my mom. So I'm grateful for them.
Shout out to the parents that support all these creatives. Speaking of, I guess, yeah, we can say about your parents. How, like, when you told me you wanted to go into film, like, how did they react? Like,
They shunned me. They kicked me out of the house for an entire week. They're like, "You were supposed to be a doctor, and now you're making loop." No. Oh, I'm surprised at how supportive they were. I guess because we live in Atlanta, where film opportunities were rising. I think they're still rising. They were okay with it. But it's definitely something that I have to like constantly reassure to them that I got this, because if I'm just say I'm a filmmaker without actually producing movies or making movies, they're going to be like, yeah, whatever. But they see what I was capable of in high school and in high school and in college. So they trust me and they support me, and I love that.
So the industry is kind of been going through. It's kind of been going through. How does
It's like a whirlwind.
yeah like a whirlwind? How have you been navigating that through this time?
So I've actually been like, I haven't been on a set in so long, but I work from home writing for an app. And I won't say the app because deep down, it makes me cringe writing for this app, but they pay pretty good. So I've just been like writing from home these past couple of days. And in my downtime, I write my next projects. I write shorter scripts that are 10 pages at this. I don't want to touch a 60-page script so long as I live.
You're like you're done with that chapter.
Yeah, I proved that I could make a feature film. We never have to do it again. It's 10 minutes tops. But as for the industry, I know that with all the strikes that have been happening, and I 100% back those strikes. Um, I know that things have been a little slow, but I think things are going to be picking up soon. Little rumors are spreading here and there that we're going to get back to it, and I can't wait for it.
And the waiting period, you're doing something that can provide you with some money, but you're also still developing your craft. So, that's good. Because I know, like, yeah, it can be tough. Like when you sometimes in the moments, it could be tough to not feel motivated. But how do you stay motivated during those times?
I just really like telling stories. Maybe it's just me, but like I just feel like there's so many good ideas out there that haven't been made. Maybe they have been. I don't watch TV much, but there's so many good ideas out there, and somebody's got to tell them. So the motivation, it's pretty easy for me to stay motivated, but it's always money. It comes down to money. That's what holds me back. Like if I won the lottery, like tonight or tomorrow, I'd probably spend it on making more movies, shorter projects, and hiring people that are like just dedicated. So it's easy for me to stay motivated when all I do is write.
That's good. So you said you wouldn't write a feature-length film, but would you direct one?
Ugh, that's a good one. Because that's like pressure. That's the pressure is pressure. If I was to direct a feature length film, I probably would say yes, even though I know mentally I probably wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm gonna still do it because even when I made The Last Supper, I was mentally exhausted and drained, and I'm like, oh gosh, this sucks. I can't wait to do it again someday. So like, probably yes. And the short answer, yes. Long answer, maybe if the project is right. Like I wouldn't go out there and direct a Marvel film, maybe like an A24 film, because you know probably a little less pressure.
So we didn't go into this, but what kind of interests you about acting? Like, what made you catch the acting bug?
Oh, so it's so funny because like I said at first, I was only interested in directing, but I would make these short films on YouTube, and I was like, I don't know the first thing about directing actors, so I took classes at Nick Conti's, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I kind of like this. This is kind of fun. And then I started doing my own short films, and I got a little campus movie fest award for best acting. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna do this. So I've just been like signing up for classes left and right. I took classes at Nick Conti, taking some at the Alliance Theater, giving a shout out to all these companies. Drama Inc. is who I'm studying with now, and I like to think I'm moving up in the ranks, but I still have so much to learn. But yeah, it was directing, and it was because I wanted to like better direct actors, and then eventually fell in love with acting myself.
In studying acting, what have you learned so far about it?
I learned that it was a process. Like it's not as easy as saying a couple lines, tying some emotions to it. You have to really like put yourself into the character shoes. And one thing I like that I learned is that no matter the actions of your character, you have to stand by those actions. Like obviously, God forbid, if your character is a serial killer, you have to stand by that character's choice to kill, even if it's violent, even if it sucks. Because you don't want to, you want to be able to understand who you're playing. You want to be able to convey these emotions to the audience. And I love that. I just love every aspect of acting and studying techniques like Chubbuck. And I've been reading up her book, which is a shocker because I never read books. So, yeah, it's just, I've been learning so much. I've been learning how to properly access my emotions. So it's been fun.
Well, that's awesome. I'm not an actor, but I could see how it could be easy to think about your own emotions and not about the character. So I thought that was interesting when you said about that. So I guess that goes into directing. When you're directing, how do you think about the character?
I'm going to constantly use TLS, for example, but this one character, Yelena, played by Priya Viavati, I hope I'm saying her name right. Priya, I know that how I want her character to be come across as, and I know what Priya is capable of. So when it came to directing her, I don't know, just like when I was directing her for a scene that involved her crying and whatnot, I was like, how am I going to do this? But I had to pull her to the side, or she pulled me to the side. We had a little conversation, and we just, even though it was taking a while to get her there, I knew that once we did get her to a position where she was able to portray the tears and emotion needed, that she was going to blow it out of the park. And she'll say otherwise. She'll say, oh my gosh, my acting's terrible. It's not. She's like one of the best actors tied to this project. But I guess when it comes to directing, you just got to like give your actor time, help them like understand the character. Especially if you wrote the project, you should know the character more than anyone. It's a process, but I'm not the best director in the world, obviously, but it's definitely like something that I learned to do while taking acting classes, like how to direct people. And I still need a lot of work, but I'm going to take it slow with each project, and I'm going to learn as I go.
And I guess too, as a director, I'm sure like each actor has their own methods, their own, I want to say challenges, their own, the different positives. They're just different people, so you have to kind of manage that. So how did you manage the different actors?
Oh man, this is the project for it because there were so many actors involved. It's so easy because they all have such different personalities. And when I was casting them and when I saw their audition tapes, like Chris was the first character I casted, Ansel. When I saw his audition tape, he played off this like rock star, alcoholic rocker boy, whereas Simon, Caleb Moon, he played off this pure bookworm child. So it was so easy to like put the characters in the actor's shoes or the actors in the character's shoes. I felt like I didn't even do much directing, to be honest. They took those characters and they just went for it. And sometimes I don't even like see my them. I see the characters that they were playing, and it was just them being themselves. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you were perfect. Who casted you? Me? Oh, pat myself on the back. They probably will never work with me again because those hours they're super nice, but like those hours were too long. But in the end, I wish all the actors involved so much, and I hope they win Oscars and every award known to man.
How would you describe your career right now?
You know how like there's a wave? They taught us this in science class. There's a crest and there's a trough. I'm at the bottom. I'm at the bottom of the wave, but I'm gonna get there. I'm actually considering moving to California for a couple of months because I want to like really get involved in the industry. I want cooler roles. I feel like there's nothing in Atlanta. I mean, maybe there is, but it's maybe nothing for me. So I'm trying to like really do better career wise. I just feel like there's more opportunities in California because I'll sign up for audition and I'll get way more auditions in California than I do here in Atlanta. And that's just from me self-representing myself because I don't have a manager or a talent agency. I've been searching, but I've been like career-wise, I'm at a place where like I'm okay, but I can do a lot better. I can do so much better. And I'm gonna try.
What do you hope to see for your career in the future? Like, what are some of your goals?
I want to be a world-renowned actor. No, I'm kidding. I definitely want to like get more acting roles. It's so fun. And I want to work on at least 2 more short films. So like really, because like the shorter the project, the more you can dedicate to each scene. But definitely get more acting roles. I want to play an astronaut so bad for some reason, and I want to play a cyberpunk edge runner because I love that video game Cyberpunk. And just make some more short films and get a little more opportunities, and definitely get represented by an agency. That would be cool. But those are the main goals: acting, agency, and short films.
Do you think there would be like a point in the career when you say, "Okay, now I've made it. Like I'm I'm on my come up." Like what would be that point?
I think the moment I'll finally feel like, yeah, I did it, is when I'm on an Oscar stage holding an award. I'm like, yeah, I told you guys. I told you I could do this. Because you know how in classes we have to like go around and introducing ourselves. I like constantly tell people, I'm going to win an Oscar. So I got to prove a lot of people wrong and prove a lot of people that I can do it. Not just for them, but for myself as well. So as soon as I hit that stage, I'll be like, yep, we have peaked. And now we gotta make more movies. And I won't stop. I'm gonna wave the Oscar around like this one's mine. It's mine, I earned it. It would be a great moment in history if I won an Oscar for anything. People don't really care for the Oscars, but me, I'm like, nah, I've been watching these for years. I want one. I got something to prove.
What advice would you give to someone listening who's just starting their career, whether they want to go to acting, directing, and they want to do something in film? What advice would you give them?
I feel like this is advice like pretty much anyone would give, but like just make some movies. Like no more holding back. I pulled money out of my own savings account to make my film, and do I regret it? Absolutely not. I got opportunities. I met some cool people. Just make movies. And if you don't have like a large group of people to depend on, go online, search up some forums, type it out. I'm not the most social butterfly in the world. In fact, I'm terrified of social interaction. I don't know how I can make it in this industry without it, but just make some movies and have fun with it. Write stories, have fun with that, and just keep making movies. Honestly.
That's awesome. Like, especially like in the day and age we're in, like, yeah, like you said, there's no excuses. We just gotta go out there and make the projects. Get going.
Yeah, the only excuse is that there is none. No, that's so late. But yeah, it's fun to do it, and especially if you have supportive people behind you. When I first started, I had 0 supportive people around me, and I still have a small amount of support. Like I know you support me and my family, but I'll look at one person's film and I won't say words, but I'll be like, they had like a crew of 50 and they made this. They could have done that, and I'll judge, but I'll look at my crew of like 10 and I'll be like, you know what, we did something. We did something. And just surround yourself with supportive people. That's all I can really say.
Thank you for listening all the way to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. What did you get out of this episode? For me, I was impressed by the go-getter attitude of Kayla. She didn't wait for an opportunity to come to her. Instead, she made her own opportunity. Sometimes, as creative people, that's what we have to do. In life, you're not always going to be handed $1 million and told to create. However, we can use the resources that we do have, and sometimes the answer will be right in front of you. But we miss it when we begin to focus on what we don't have. So instead of worrying about what you don't have, think about what you do have. This is it for this episode, but don't forget to show your support for this podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, tune in next week on Monday, March 17th to hear my conversation with fellow creative Corey Davis. Until then, this has been Creatives on the Come Up.
Welcome to the stage where dreams take flight, where every brushstroke, every note, every line becomes a beacon in the night. Creators on the come up, shining bright. We're the ones who dare to dream. Creators on the come up, shining bright. We're the ones who dare to dream. Turning visions into what they seem. With every step we break the mold. Our story's bold and gold. Creators on the come up, we rise. With passion in our hearts, we never compromise. From the canvas to the mic, we make our mark. In the world of art, we leave our spark. From the streets to the studio, we find our way. With every challenge, we find a way to stay. Our creativity, a force that can't be tamed. In the game of life, we're not just players, we're named. So join us on this journey where dreams are made. Creators on the come up, we're here to stay. With every episode, we light the way. Creators on the come up every day.